Hello there, folks. I did not see you there. Oh, it must be a folktale day. And hello and welcome to the channel. I am Braggy, the son of Magnar. And yes, I am a storyteller. Now today, I am here to tell you a story of a changeling. And you may be asking yourself, whoa, what? Braggy is a changeling? Well, a changeling is a creature or a spirit that can inhabit a body of a person and take over them. And our tale is called The Changeling That Speaks on the Way to the Church, and is an old Swedish tale. Now, many moons ago, many seasons in fact, in the land of the Swedes, a very big, tough bunch of Vikings, there lived a farmer and his wife. And well, they had a small farmstead close by to a village. They had a nice long house, and they had a bit of land, and they had some cattle. But what the farmer and the wife did not have was a baby. And to have an heir to carry on your wealth in the next generation was very important in those days, just like today. And the husband and wife, the farmer and his wife, wanted a baby very badly. And so some time passed, and then one day the wife became pregnant, and after many months, in fact it was 9, she gave birth to a baby boy. And at first the boy was a normal baby, but very quickly, within a few days of being born, he changed. His tongue would stick out of his mouth, and he would dribble. And the parents knew that there was something wrong with this child of theirs, their new baby boy. And so, after speaking to a few of the locals in the village, a few of the wise people, they called upon a midwife to come and look at the baby, and she came from a nearby village after she walked there. And she said, well, it is very clear to me that your baby has the spirit of a changeling. Some say that the spirit is called the Ra, often known in Sweden, but that is another story. And so, after seeking some advice from the midwife and the wise people where they lived, they agreed that they should take their child to the church some leagues away on a Sunday, and they thought that this was a good idea, for these were the times when Christianity was coming to the land of Sweden and Scandinavia. But the people said that you must cross 3 rivers before you go to the church, and so they had to take the long way round. And a few days passed, and it came to Sunday, and very early in the morning when the sun rose up, they awoke and they got ready to go to the church. So they set off, the husband and the wife, carrying the new baby boy, and they walked a few leagues, and they came to a first river with an old wooden bridge which creaked. And they crossed that. No problems at all. We sometimes know that under bridges can live trolls, but there was no troll under that bridge. And then again they came to a second bridge, and again they passed the bridge. There was a man sitting by the bridge, looking into the water as they walked past it, and nothing happened. And again they walked a few more leagues. A league is a few miles. And they came to the third bridge, just before the church. But this time, when they crossed that bridge, they heard a voice. And that voice shouted out, "Where are you going, chatterbox?" And something very, very strange happened. For the boy, who had never spoken, spoke his first words. "I am going to the ding-dongs, and I must be going," said the boy. But his father, being a wise man, and knowing about the folklore of changelings, knew that there was a spirit in that water And what do you think he did? Well, he got the baby, and this is terrifying in today's world, but he threw the baby into the water. And then the baby came out of the water. The spirit of the changeling had gone. No more was there a voice, and the baby cried, "Wow, wow." The baby was a normal baby, and from that day on, the changeling was never seen again. And they managed to get to the church that day, and I assume the baby was christened. The end of the tale. We do love a good tale about a changeling, and this reminds me of the story about the changeling in the oven. When once there was a woman, a wise old woman, and she was wealthy. She had a lot of coin she inherited. But the one thing she desired the most was to be a mother, to have a baby. And so, some time passed. She could not meet a man to settle down with. Courtship was hard in those days, just like today. But something strange happened that evening. A mighty blowing storm came over the land. And knocking at the door came a stranger. He knocked 3 times and said, "I am a stranger, cold and in seek of lodgings." And the wise old woman agreed. And they got on very well that night. In fact, they got on too well, and you know what happened. For 9 months passed, the stranger had gone. On that night, never to be seen again. And all those months later, the lady gave birth to a baby. But this was no ordinary baby. Some say it was a supernatural being of a baby. For the baby had a most ginormous head and a tiny body, and it would speak in a harsh, low tone. "Oi, I want some beer." Very unusual for a baby to talk. The mother, the wise old woman, she realised that the baby was a changeling, and she again called for the midwife. After a few days, the midwife came, knocked on the door, and she came in. And she looked at the baby, at the ginormous giant head, and she said to the woman, "Yes, you have a changeling in your baby, and you must treat your baby harshly, or the changeling will never go." And the wise woman, the midwife, said, "You must make a fire in the morning in your bread oven and put your baby in, and you must repeat this 3 times. And so the next morning, when the midwife had gone, the wise old witch woman ordered her servant girl to make a fire in the bread oven. And then she instructed to put the baby in, something today we will find horrifying. It is almost like a horror movie. But nothing happened. The baby remained the same. It had a butch voice, it was bad-mannered, and it was not a baby. For the second day, the woman, the old woman, ordered the servant girl to do the same, to put the baby in the hot oven. And again, the servant girl was reluctant to do this. Anybody would be. But she had to do what she was told. She put the baby in the oven. The baby, the changeling, did not like this, howled and wailed. And when the baby came out, it was still a changeling. Nothing had changed. And so, for the 3rd time, the woman ordered the servant girl to put the baby in the bread oven. An oven made out of clay, in the dome shape, with a clay floor. And so, for the 3rd time, the servant girl very reluctantly put the baby in the oven. But this time, something strange happened, for the baby howled and wailed like it had never wailed or howled before. But when the servant girl took the baby out, the changeling had gone. He had been treated so harshly that the changeling could not stand the fire, the heat, and so left the baby. And the baby became a normal child. apart from its ginormous size head, of course. And it grew up to be a man with a big head. The end of the story. And now, we do hope you like a good folktale on the Changeling, and we do like a good Swedish folktale. We have told a few. That is myself and Egil Thorsten. So it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.